Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you've ever tried to learn a new language and just gave up, I've got some really good news for you. It almost certainly wasn't your fault. Today, we're going to dive into a proven 5-step system that completely flips traditional language learning on its head and actually, gets you speaking. Let's get right into it.
Does this sound familiar to you? You spend years, maybe in a classroom, you memorize all the grammar rules, you cram these endless vocabulary lists, but then, when you're finally face-to-face with a native speaker, your mind just goes completely blank. You freeze up. It's an incredibly common and, let's be honest, super frustrating experience. But it's a symptom of a broken method, not a broken learner.
So, here's our game plan. First up, we'll break down exactly why those old methods just don't work. Then, we'll walk through the 5 steps to actually succeed. Choosing your language, absorbing it in a natural way, and then making it a daily habit. And you're definitely going to want to stick around for step 4. It's a powerful little technique that can seriously speed up your progress. Okay, so why do so many of us fail? Well, the problem isn't you, the student. It's the system itself. Honestly, a lot of traditional methods actually work against the way our brains are naturally wired to learn a language, which pretty much sets us up for frustration from day one.
The old way forces you to memorize these abstract grammar rules and just endless lists of words. But that's not how we learn. I mean, think about it. When you were a toddler, did you study verb conjugations? No way. You learned by listening, by absorbing everything around you, and by picking up on patterns. The new way is all about getting back to that natural process, massive exposure, and intuitive pattern recognition.
All right, now for our first real actionable step. And this might seem a little obvious, but choosing the right language for you is absolutely critical. Getting this right from the very beginning is the foundation for your long-term motivation and ultimately your success.
So one practical way to choose is just by looking at the numbers. As you can see, languages like English, Mandarin, and Hindi, they literally open up a world of content. Having endless movies, books, and podcasts to learn from is a massive advantage because it means you'll pretty much never run out of fun, engaging material to keep you interested.
Now this table here, this is a great reality check for us English speakers. Tier 1 languages like Spanish, they share our alphabet, a lot of similar words, and many grammatical roots. But as you move down that list to languages like Russian with its completely different Cyrillic script, or Mandarin with its character-based system, well, the challenge really grows. You're not just learning new words, you're learning a whole new logic for communication.
But here's the most important part of this step. Honestly, this is more important than any chart or any tier list. You need a strong personal why. Are you learning for family? For a career? Because you're in love with a certain culture? That emotional connection, that's the fuel that's going to keep you going when the initial excitement starts to fade. So the crucial point here is, pick a language that actually means something to you.
All right, so you've chosen your language. Perfect. The next 2 steps are really the heart of this entire system, and they're all about how you absorb it. Step 2 is about focusing on input, and Step 3 is about learning vocabulary the smart way, not the hard way.
For Step 2, this chart shows the biggest mindset shift you need to make. Forget all that pressure to speak from day one. Instead, you're going to spend about 80% of your time on input. That's just listening and reading. Your brain needs to absorb the sounds and the patterns of the language first, long before you can expect it to produce anything.
Okay, but what kind of input is the best? Well, the key is to find your sweet spot. You want material that's just a little bit challenging, so not so easy that you're bored, but not so hard that you're totally lost and frustrated. For beginners, this could be something like kids' shows or books designed for learners. And then as you get better, you can move on to documentaries, novels, and eventually podcasts made for native speakers.
And that brings us right to Step 3, vocabulary. Please stop memorizing isolated words from a list. It just doesn't work. A much smarter strategy is to start with the 1,000 most common words in that language. And here's a great trick. You can use an AI tool to generate short stories using those specific words. This teaches you vocabulary in context, which is how our brains remember things. Flashcards? They should only be a backup tool, just for reinforcing those few tricky words you keep forgetting.
Okay, so now you know what to do. Steps 4 and 5 are all about how you do it consistently. Step 4 is that secret technique I promised you for really mastering pronunciation, and Step 5 is how you build all of this into a daily habit that you can actually stick with. So are you ready for it? Step 4 is a super powerful method that helps you bridge that massive gap between just understanding a language and actually speaking it fluently. It's simple, it's incredibly effective, and it's something that's almost never taught in traditional classrooms.
The technique is called shadowing, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You play an audio clip of a native speaker, and you speak along with them, trying to copy their pronunciation, their rhythm, their intonation, everything as closely as you possibly can. What this does is it builds muscle memory for your mouth and your tongue, and it trains your brain to process the language at native speed. Just 10 minutes of this a day can make a massive, massive difference.
And that leads us to our final step, number 5, building the daily habit. So how do you fit this all together? Well, you can structure your day using these 3 simple blocks. Block 1, about an hour of focused immersion, like watching a show or reading a book. Block 2, a quick 15-minute session to review some vocab and practice your shadowing. And block 3, passive listening. Just have a podcast on in the background while you're cooking or driving. This whole system turns your daily routine into a language learning machine.
So there you have it. We've moved from that broken old system to a powerful new framework that actually works with your brain's natural ability to learn, not against it. Let's just do a quick recap of the core takeaways.
Let's recap your new blueprint for success. Number 1, choose your why. Find that personal connection. 2, focus 80% of your time on input. Just listen and read. 3, learn vocabulary in context, not from lists. 4, use shadowing to perfect your accent and your flow. And 5, build a daily habit with that 3-block system. If you follow these steps, you will make progress. This is your path to fluency.
You know, this system really puts the power back in your hands. It's not about some magic trick or being talented at languages. It's about using the right method consistently. So the only question left to ask is, what language will you choose to start speaking? The journey starts right now.